And our first story starts with this very interesting news, although you could call it breaking news, yes, of course, because everyone is still in the celebrating mode. Well, pro-European centrist has vowed to unite a divided France after winning a second term as French president in a decisive victory against the far-right Marine Le Pen, who nonetheless won more than 12 million votes in a historic high for her anti-immigration party. Emmanuel Macron became the first French leader to win re-election for 20 years, scoring a clear margin of 58.5% to 41.5% according to initial projected results.
Now, addressing a victory rally at the foot of the Eiffel Tower, where his supporters waved French and European flags, Macron vowed to respond efficiently to the anger and disagreement of voters who choose the far right. Meanwhile, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson congratulates Emmanuel Macron on his re-election as projections show the French president winning a second term in office. I mean, that's a really breaking news, especially for the country of France. This is the first time in 20 years that a president is being re-elected as since 2002. So it's a thumbs up for Emmanuel Macron, even though there were a lot of questions as to whether he would actually gain his re-election bid, especially with the far-right Marine Le Pen. But it was a 58 to 42% for the elections. I mean, it was quite a close margin, I must say.
It was quite a close margin, and looking at the fact that other presidents of the world are indeed coming to congratulate him. And most importantly, I mean, you saw Boris Johnson making a statement there in that tweet that he put up there, of course, making that clear statement, celebrating with Emmanuel Macron. And Emmanuel Macron moving over to the Eiffel Tower to ensure that his celebration is indeed worthwhile. Plus, the big question many are asking on a Monday morning, especially started from yesterday, is what does his victory mean for Africa?
Definitely. I mean, President Emmanuel Macron came with so much socialist ideas. He was able to make business, especially for the France Labour policy, make it very good for people to hire and also fire people in the economy. He also scrapped the wealth tax. But what most of France people did not like about Emmanuel Macron's administration was the fact that to them, they felt he was arrogant and lofty, aloof rather. And they also felt that his government was majorly favoring just the upper class. So we have a division of the upper class and the lower class. So for the election, if you look at it well, we saw more of the upper class, as the professional, the elites, voting for Emmanuel Macron, while we had more of the lower class or the average people actually voting for Marine Le Pen. So there's a lot Emmanuel Macron has to do, especially to prove himself in this second bid. He needs to listen to the pleas of the people and, of course, make it a more, I know we can have a totally equal society, but he should try as much as possible to make sure that even those in the lower cadre of the society have a fair treatment, and of course they are able to fuel his government and the economy is better. I mean, there was actually a protest, Joe, if you remember. I think during his administration, that was the yellow vest protest, of which people of France protested against the fuel price hike in France. I mean, we saw France really dogged about their protest, and they said, no, we are not going to have this price of fuel hike in France. And we have tweets, see the tweets there of Boris Johnson congratulating Emmanuel Macron. And you see the funny thing that Emmanuel Macron did, he actually made himself a mediator, especially with the Russia and Ukraine war. I think that was a string of politics that he played there. So he made himself more an important figure, and that's why you see lots of heads of state and world leaders really congratulating him, especially on his re-election.
That's right. Well, anyway, for Africa, it's all about looking at what the re-election means for the continent. Don't forget that recently Emmanuel Macron and, of course, Goita, talking about Mali, had a little face-off where he talked about the military junta taking possession and making sure that they indeed hold on to the reins of power. But we'll talk about Emmanuel Macron later on. That's one of the top stories up until now. Of course, celebratory mode in France. All the followers, leaders, you name them, are indeed taking note of that.